Oh my God, I don't even know.
I love it.
I don't even know where volume is on my.
My
Oh my
goodness.
God.
Hello, everybody. we, we,
God.
we, we're having adventures in tech land here.
It says that my volume is all the way down.
Can you hear me now, though? Please tell me, can you hear me?
Absolutely, I can hear you.
Oh, I love it, guys. That was so
Oh,
much
hey, I
fun.
figured out how to turn it down. Hey, all right, there we go.
I think the fun part of technology is when it's like something works over and over again, then all of a sudden it just doesn't work. And you're like, wait a second.
Like when you're like, oh, dude, you got to check out this website. Check out this website, bro. And you go to click it in, you punch it in, and try again later, and you're like,
Yeah.
never mind, never mind. Forget I even said anything.
It's
It
not like
doesn't exist.
though we're not like you think of the iconic examples of I think it was Steve Jobs when he was showing off the iPod or the iPhone or something and it failed and then Elon Musk throwing a little marble at the Cybertruck and the glass busted. It's like at least it's nothing like that, which is really great.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we would do if it were something like that. I don't know.
I know there's not much on the line here. It's just you and I talking.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I love it. How you doing? This is great. I'm glad we finally got to do this.
Yeah, this is awesome. Wow, it looks like I'm like, boo. Let me. Oh, that's too dark.
Ah, you look great. Everybody, doesn't he look great? He looks great. Unless you're
Hey,
not a
everybody, how are we? How are we?
unless you're not a Packers fan, and then I don't know. If you're not a Packers
I'm
fan,
absolutely a Packers fan,
yeah,
100%.
cheesehead. Is that what you're called, a cheesehead?
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah. So how long have you been a cheesehead? Your whole life?
So since I was 18 years old, being in Alaska, I was able to pick my team. So
Oh,
it's pretty nice.
okay. All right. So first of all, I'm going to get into that, but let's make sure, like I'm pretty sure everybody knows who you are. But for those of people those I do have people listening on podcast who may not know who you are. So Reven Wood is here. Reven is not only an awesome trader, consistently profitable trader, but also a coach. And you and I coach together in the MFT community.
Mhm.
And how do we know whether Reven is consistently profitable? Because you live stream every freaking day. And so if you want to know whether Reven his stuff works or not, you can actually join his live stream, which is awesome, which is the link at the bottom below Reven's name, by
Mhm.
the way. So you've got a new program. But before we get into all that, let's go back to Alaska. So you grew up in Alaska? Is that or were you just there when you were 18?
So I was born in Oregon, and then can you turn your speakers down just a little bit?
Yeah, are mine a little annoying?
Oh yeah, I think your noise canceling is off.
Oh yeah, I should turn that back on because I did that with the
Before I tell you my awesome story of being in Alaska,
yeah, there you go.
there's
Echo
nothing awesome
cancellation.
about being in Alaska. Trust me.
All right, go for it.
All right. So, oh yeah, that's a lot better. All right. So I was born in Oregon, and when I was when in 1981, when the housing market collapsed, my parents just left the keys in the mailbox here in Bend, Oregon, and just moved up to Alaska.
Hmm.
There was some family that lived there, and so I lived there, graduated from high school there, and I always told myself, instead of this frozen rock that we're on, I have to go back to Bend, Oregon. And the reason I always wanted to move back to Bend, Oregon was because when we would be on Christmas vacation, we would visit Bend, Oregon, where it was 50 degrees in January or late December. And at my house in Anchorage, it was negative 30, negative 35. So it was summertime to my 9-year-old brain. And so then I always told myself, I have to go back to Bend, Oregon. It's always beautiful there. And so in 2006, February of 2006, I decided to just bring myself back to Oregon. Had no plans, sold everything I owned in about 2 weeks and moved down here. And I've been down here 17 years now.
Awesome. I heard Bend is amazing. I heard Bend is a gorgeous place in
It,
Oregon. to
It is
be.
beautiful. So the way to describe Bend and the people that live here is it's 300 days of sun a year. It's high desert, and it's an active alcoholic outdoor lifestyle. So you'll drink 4,000 calories of very, very nice beer, and then you'll burn 5,000 calories on the trail. And if you look at it that way, it is a beautiful place to be because there's like I want to say, don't quote me on this, close to 50 breweries in this little town.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So but it's a beer town, right? It's a beer town.
100% a beer town. Yeah,
Yeah,
Deschutes
yeah.
Brewery, big places like breweries like that. 10 Barrel was purchased by Anheuser-Busch, so there's a lot of brewing, craft brewing here. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. Are you into that? Did you do that as a hobby?
I have not had a drink in 10 and a half years.
So you're like, I brew, but I don't drink.
I the reason I enjoy living here is the snowboarding. I grew up snowboarding every day, and Mount
Yes.
Bachelor's 35 minutes from my doorstep. So it's really really nice to be able to just, if I want wintertime, I can just go right on down the road, and I got wintertime. So it's
I
it's
miss it.
it's beautiful here.
I miss snowboarding big time.
Where do you live?
I live in Austin, Texas.
Oh, there's no snowboarding in Austin,
No, there's
Texas.
no snowboarding in Texas at all. No.
So you live
I
by
mean,
Joe and Nathan.
yeah, I am. Actually, we met up for dinner one night, which was awesome. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, Austin. I love Austin. I miss the snowboarding. I don't miss the snow. I don't miss like being around snow, but um, for Christmas we actually were out in Utah visiting my daughter, and then we went kind of south, and we ended up in Durango, Colorado, and we went snowshoeing. And it's just something about being outside for me, and then being outside in the winter with snow, and it's calm and peaceful. And the snow dampens all the noise, which is really cool. So I do miss the snowboarding. We have a lake here, and we have a long lake season, which is great. So usually I'm on my e-foils in the summer. One of my e-foils in the summer.
I saw some of that footage. That's really really cool. The snow dampening the sound. That's one of the things I miss from Alaska, where
Hmm.
even though it's light, or even though in the wintertime it's dark, the snow always lights it up. So you didn't really ever have to have street lights or anything like that. But the dampening, where when it's snowing, it's so quiet.
Yeah,
The peace and the tranquility is
yeah.
one thing that I do when it does snow here. I do enjoy that. But other than that, snow in the mountains is plenty for me.
Hmm.
Driving in it, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. There's some things we won't like, you know.
So I try to stay home a lot.
Cool. I love it. So, it's interesting because both of us, we're both coaches in MFT community, which I think is just Joe and Nate and I were talking. There are moderators, admins in the community, and they asked me, they said, what do you really love about the community? And I'm like, honestly, I think, there's a lot of things to love, but the thing about the MFT community is there's a culture here. Like I don't know if we've done it or it's just been organic, but there's a culture here of people really genuinely wanting to help other people.
Mhm.
In the interactions with others, there's not a lot of toxicity. There's people genuinely encouraging others, and I think it's awesome. And I think you're a big driver of that. People are in your live stream. You're a very encouraging coach. Um, so I think it's a really great community. I'm really glad I'm part of it, and I'm really glad you're part of it. And apparently, because what's cool is I have a lot of people in my program that are also in your program, and vice versa, right? We have slightly different programs,
Mhm.
and I always hear great things about Reven. It's
Same.
it's awesome.
Absolutely. It's and what I love is, even though, like you said, we're both coaches, there's two different approaches to finding the edge in the process. Everybody's like, "Oh, is it profitability? Is it profitability?" Well, if we really think about it, you can have a profit, you can have a business that profits, but the second that a business that's just like yours comes in across the street, if you have no edge, you're gone. That guy's
Yeah.
going to take your edge. And so a lot of the people that have had a call with me and then they work with you, that is really bringing the results that we're looking for.
Yeah.
It's just the way that I see it is it's layers that you can't go wrong with. What
Yeah.
I'm going to do, and this is what Elijah and I were just talking about, I'm going to strip everything out. We're going to get down to the bare basics, and then we're going to figure out what data we're actually looking for. And then Taylor comes along and shows you what to do with that data. That's kind of how we've been looking at this, and it's working very, very, very well.
It's amazing, like you've. I know you've heard me talk about this, and I think you feel much the same, which is I kind of have a personal mission of trying to attack this whole 95% of traders lose. I want to get rid of that number, at least with people that are working with us. And I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it with the people that I'm working with, the people that you're working with. It just seemed like we're like this community. I've never seen more posts in a community of people like, I passed my combine today. I got my first payout today. Like really genuine success that's happening in a bigger scale than I think I've seen in most communities. Right.
And the ability to articulate to them that the frustration is part of the process. Some of the most important data that you can collect between what I say and what Taylor has you do is write down what's frustrating you. The frustration is coming from a lack of data in a certain data point. The, we have to find that. We have to continuously revisit that frustration at times. One of the things that we talk about all the time is, are you collecting the right data? Well, I've been trading for 10 years and I just haven't found it. It's like, okay, what are you looking at? Well, I'm looking at the 20 and the 200 and they start talking about things that are on the charts. Instantly, Taylor and I go, whoa, hold on. Hold on. We didn't ask you anything about the charts. If I recall, we did not say anything about the charts. That opens up the dialogue in this community for everybody to just go, hey, look, maybe we're all just kind of looking at the wrong data.
Mm.
The biggest challenge that I'm finding is when people come to me is that they're looking at the wrong data. So it brings up a good question. What is the biggest challenge that you're finding when people are coming to you? Mine is they're looking at the wrong data. What are you seeing?
Well, tell me what you mean by that. Go a little further, because I think this gets a little bit more into your coaching philosophy and approach. So when you talk about data and looking at the right data, like what do you mean? Like tell me a little bit more about that.
So when I'm explaining what data we're looking for, what I'm looking for is the data that isn't on the chart.
Mm-hmm.
As I explain to people, the hardest part about learning how to trade is taking self-inventory, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why do you keep missing that trade?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with what's on the chart. Why do you keep moving your stop up too quickly? It has nothing to do with what's on the chart. Why did you exit that trade and now you're frustrated because everybody else in the room hit their first and second target? And so why did you think that you needed to exit that trade before everybody else did? They start naming off things that are on the chart and what they saw, and it's like, okay, so are you just going to do that every single time? Why? And
Mm.
once I have them remove themselves from blaming the charts, they go, oh, or they get very, very frustrated. It's one or the other, which is
Yeah.
very, very natural in both states. So
Yeah.
that's the challenge that I have with is people will when they come in, I'm noticing that they're even if they're writing all the data down, it's the data that's on the chart, and we can see that anyway. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I mean by data.
It's like the, I think you said it earlier, right? The data that's not there, or the data that's not necessarily the obvious data, right? And
If the entire world is looking for the answers to their trading, and they're looking for the answers on the charts, and 93% of those people lose forever, the odds that the answers to your trading being on the charts, to me, are very, very low. And
yeah,
so that's what I mean by like what my biggest challenge with my traders is shifting the focus
yeah,
inwards.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying that correctly. What
Yeah,
so what are you?
I like that, and I've been thinking a lot about, um, y- like both you and I, we're coaches, right? And there is this stigma that this market has against coaches or mentors or anyone that wants to pitch anything. It's immediate, like, oh no, they must be a scammer, right? And I've been thinking a lot about this, and I've been thinking about how the industry, just this industry as a whole, functions, and it functions very much as, hey, I've got a system, and if you watch me trade my system and learn my rules, you're going to be able to make a lot of money, right? I mean, I hear that pitch over and over and over again. And I think what you're arriving at, and I think what I, am arriving at, is that's not the model that works. That's the model that creates 95% losers, because you can never replicate another trader. And learning the system is only the first of step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
Mm-hmm,
that you need to do.
mm-hmm,
But if you're going to put $3,000 toward learning a system, yeah, but as you say, you're not collecting necessarily the right data. Maybe you have the first set of data you need,
mm-hmm,
but all this other data, you don't even know how. You don't even know that that exists. You don't even know
mm-hmm.
that there's a realm beyond learning system rules. And I think that's one of the challenges that,
And so you need a coach because you don't know what you don't know. I know it sounds really, really cliche, but it literally sums up what you just said.
yeah,
The coach is going to show you what you don't know. You don't know. When I get on my first one-on-one with people, they've never heard the information that I'm sharing, because in the way that I look at this is, one, either the people that they've been following before either didn't know it, or they don't want them to know this information, because once they know the basics of the information that we're actually looking for, they'll never buy another course. They'll never buy another indicator from you. They'll never need you in that manner again. So the MFT, now that we're really focusing on the live trading desk, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're not just selling a course. What we're doing is we're building a community. Yes, it's for profit, but we're building a community that's built around following the professional day in and day out. We don't just learn, not just auditorily, not just visual, but if you want to become a journeyman electrician, how many hours are you literally the grunt of the journeyman?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I like that. I think of it as, there are systems that are in MFT, right? Clearly there's things that are taught around system rules,
Mhm.
but that's not really what MFT is about. That's not what I'm about, and that's not
Right.
what you're about. We're about teaching the process of how to become consistently profitable. And
Right.
I think that's a very different value proposition, right? It's something that's a little bit different there.
If the first thing that they're trying to do is sell you a pattern on a chart, I
Yeah.
want you to think twice. If they're now on the other side of that is if they're saying, "Hey, come with me every single day, and I'm going to show you how to apply that pattern day in and day out using the correct mindset," well, then you have something there. But to just say, "Hey, buy my course. You learn these little patterns. You're going to make money if you just keep doing it."
It's
That's
a
tough.
recipe for disaster. It
There's
is.
never success in that. One out of a
No, there,
thousand, and
there
we're
really
not
is.
that one out of a thousand.
There might be like legitimately there are people that could go and absorb a live stream,
Mhm.
watch it for, a YouTube live stream for like a month, watch someone trade and like, I got it, right? And there
Mhm.
are legitimately those unicorns that
Mhm.
are out there,
Mhm.
but I haven't met many of them. Not many.
Couple in 20 years.
Yeah. How did you get started in trading? Like what did you and I've heard the story before, but I know other people haven't, but how did you
Mhm.
get going and did you have any mentors along the way? Who influenced you?
Sure. So the way that I got trading is kind of odd. I used to be the night stalker at Fred Meyer's. This is one of the odd jobs that I did to
Mhm, mhm.
do whatever.
I had a few of those.
And it was 5 o'clock in the morning. Was it? It was 5 o'clock in the morning, which is when the stock market opened in Alaska. And I was in the break room, and I just saw these little tickers going by, and I'm like, "What is that?" So I wrote a couple of them down, and turned out those were associated to money. So immediately I, as everybody else does, I start writing down, looking at stuff, and tracking the tickers, only to lose and lose and lose and lose. I bought a Nokia at 192, I think,
Mm,
which was the all-time high of 193. So I'm there. Sold it at 6, and I did that for years and years and years and years and years and years. And then after I moved down to Oregon, I got introduced to no, right before I left Alaska, I got introduced to futures, and so then my mentor, which I cannot name because he's not a good person. Um, I'm being very, very nice about this. Everybody else has already sleuthed who he is, right? I used to work for a company called PureTick.com. And I used to just hang out in the YM room, which is the Dow futures room, and I had no idea what I was doing. I lost every single trade. I got kicked out of that trading room so many times because I wouldn't shut up. I was complaining about losing, and then one day I just literally told myself, you know what, I'm not putting any more money into this dang game until I literally pay someone to tell me what to do. And so, in I want to say it was the end of 2009, 2010. I finally started to figure out kind of what data that needed to be collected, and then in February 14th of 2011 was my first day running the ES trading room, and I did that for several years until I had a personal issue called divorce. And so that's when I took my time away from the markets and really honed in on working on myself.
yeah.
Met an amazing woman, and what's once every as we're finding out, if our personal life
Hmm.
is out of whack, and we're trying to learn how to trade while our personal life is out of whack, well, it, trading, as we're finding, is a total reflection of how your life runs.
Yeah.
My life was a my trading life was a wreck until I removed all the outside noise. Once I removed all the outside noise, I was able to focus on really what mattered. Now, it took me 11 years to get profitable. It took me 15 years to figure out that you're supposed to trade from a stops up approach. 15 years.
Hmm.
So
Tell everyone what that means though.
okay, so what we do is, here's what a normal person does. They say, oh, Patrick's entering a trade at 48.15.
Yeah.
So what they do is they say, okay, I trade with a 2 point stop, so my stop is 48.13. And we always wonder why our stop gets hit. This brings up a really
Yeah.
good point of this ICT thing yesterday. I don't even know who this guy is, right? I've never heard of him before. But all of a sudden, he's saying that the whole world is watching where his stops are. If he was trading from a stops up approach, meaning he was looking to enter the trade based upon where his stop was, he would have never had that problem. But when you trade from a entry approach, your stop is always dangling, and the algorithms are just waiting to salivate and chew your stop up. So therefore, it always looks like the stop is getting hit, and it looks
Yeah.
like they're hunting your stop.
Yeah. Yeah. So it took you, so what do you do now? Like how did you change that in your trading?
I started to realize that if I can't define the stop, I can't define the entry, I can't define
Hmm.
the trade. So
Yeah.
so in the live trading desk, what you're going to see is, where is the stop? The first question we're going to ask. Everybody says, "Oh, do you see the entry? Do you see the entry?" Do you see the stop?
Yeah.
If you don't see the stop, the odds are you're going to put your stop in the wrong place, so you're going to enter where you're not supposed to enter. So we call that le pinprick. The le pinprick is where they got you coming and they got you going. They got you on the short because you thought it was a breakdown, and then they got you on the long on the stop out.
Yeah. Yeah.
If a trader can't identify that data point, they can't, they haven't created enough data to where they can't be in a combine, they can't be trading live.
Yeah.
That's the on chart data that we would be looking for. But that on chart data comes from, where did I get stopped out every single freaking time over the last 10,000 trades?
Right. Right.
That's where the pinprick is. Do you have the patience to take the time to collect that data or not?
Hmm.
Either you do or you don't. If you do, you might make it as a trader. If you don't, I would look for something else to do. You know,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
you're probably the same way. It's just what we
Yeah.
tell people. So, what is the biggest challenge that you find when people come to you?
Oh, that's a good one. So I think it's similar, right? Because you're talking about, you know, the data aspect. Um, Actually, I don't know if it's the big, you said the biggest or the most frequent,
The
because
most
they're
frequent.
two different things.
The
The
most
most
frequent.
frequent challenge is people come thinking that they have an edge and they don't have an edge. And you know, the way I define edge is a statistical probability of profit, right? If you don't know what those metrics look like for your rules in your trading, you probably don't have an edge. And if you do have an edge, you still shouldn't be trading anyway until you know what the actual statistical value is, right? So that's actually the most frequent thing that happens is um, it's not enough. And this goes back to that whole, you know, idea, like it's not enough to just learn a set of rules and then think, oh, I have an edge now. That is not the work. You just
Right.
said what the work was. You've got to go back and you've got to validate that hundreds and hundreds of trades. And then you're like, okay, I know what the edge actually is. This has a profit factor of whatever. This has an R value of whatever. However, you're measuring the edge, you've got to have those numbers. So that's the most frequent problem that I encounter as a coach, for sure. Yeah.
The expectations aren't lining up with the results, and so people get frustrated.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, the biggest challenge is something different. The biggest challenge is mindset. And so it's also a frequent one, but I don't even like to talk about mindset uh, with my mentees until we've resolved the edge question first, because no amount of mindset work is going to help you if you're trading a set of rules that don't actually have an edge. It's
When
like
you
good luck.
when you're talking about the edge in your process, right? What you're getting into the analytics of it. What I try to do first with the people that I'm bringing aboard is, I'm trying to remove the analytics of it, because most people have they think that they have to have all these data points. When I explain process with an edge, I literally say a process with an edge is a trading plan that works. Obviously, there's a lot more to that.
Yeah.
But what we have to
Yeah.
think about is, a trading plan that works is a business plan that shows proof of concept, proof of edge, and proof of profitability. Okay, cool, great. How do I see process with an edge? Here's how you see it in a dumbed down way. Process looks like looking at the chart in hindsight and saying, oh, I would have traded there. I would have traded there. Ooh, that's a perfect trade. Process looks like putting the perfect back test together, and it shows you where you should have traded. That's what process looks like. That's how we can see it without trying to go through the analytics that some people just will never understand. Edge is in direct relation to our process. How did you take the trade? And then I bring in, I say, you'll love this, Taylor. I say, Taylor, who is our process, who is our edge and mindset coach, says, my process trades better than I do. That is so powerful. That allows you to release the need to be right. Everybody, if we talk about the biggest challenge that people come to us with, is they have the need to be right. They have to be right. They have to be right now.
Yeah.
They didn't open up the simulator and embrace the scientific process and screw it up and collect the data. What they did is they watched a couple videos, read a couple books, talked to a couple people, and opened up a live account because they're smarter than the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And then when the expectation doesn't align with the reality, well, that's
Yeah.
where trouble starts to get. That's where their data starts to point straight at the chart again
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of looking inwards.
Yeah, I work a lot with people with that need to be right, and there's so many underlying drivers for that need. One, and it's all mindset related mostly. One of the drivers is there's some sort of, financial urgency in their life,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they
Mm-hmm.
got to be right because they got to get the profit. Another part of it is ego driven. Another part of it is a lack of confidence, and so they're trying to build the evidence. So they need to be right because
Mm,
that's the only way that they can feel confident is when they're right. You know
mm,
what I mean?
mm.
And so like I try to turn that upside down and say, actually, you can feel confident without necessarily needing to be right all the time. Right? When
I
you
hope
know what your data looks like, you can feel confident in your data. And then when you go into a trade, it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. You can bring that confidence from that part of your work, right?
I hope people are listening to what you just said. I mean, you I mean, how if we start out with a blank data set, why are we looking at whether we're red or green?
Yeah.
You have three trades and you're checking your profit or loss. My biggest challenge that I face after we've had a coaching session, I specifically tell them for the next 30 days, I don't want you to worry about whether you're red or green. I don't want you to worry about whether your trades win or lose. I don't want you to look at whether the trades win or lose. I don't want you to look anything at it. The first thing they do is they email me and they go, "Hey, everything's going pretty good. I'm 7 for 12, and I'm looking pretty good here, and I'm plus $847." And I'm going, the
I did the
only
same thing,
thing
Reven.
you were
I
supposed
know
to
where you're
do
going.
was not look at your profit.
Yeah.
How do you have a data set of 12 trades when your baseline is zero? You have
Yeah.
nothing that proves that you should be red or green, and all you're thinking about is how do you get green?
Yeah.
And then 30 days, so after the first 30 days, we have our first 30-day call, 45-day call. They come to me either ecstatic because they're like, oh my God, I didn't think of that. Or they come to me in shambles. They're frustrated that they're not seeing it yet.
Yeah.
What are you seeing? So the collection of data, all they've been doing is trying to figure out how to decipher what they've collected on the charts. When the whole time the data that they're supposed to be collecting is, why are you frustrated? What's making you frustrated? Is your frustration coming because you're impatient? Is it because you're exiting the trades too early? You're guessing. You're oh oh it's all of those. Oh, okay. So now, what's making you guess? We all know what a chart looks like.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I want people to do is figure out what not to do. Everybody's so fixated on learning that trade, learning that trade, learning that trade. How about you learn how to not take that trade? How
Mm.
about you learn to take that trade wrong every single way possible? So then there's no more possibilities as how it can be wrong. And then that's your actual trade.
Yeah.
My favorite word, Taylor, in trading for our clients is serendipity. How can you stumble upon greatness if you're afraid to fall?
That's right.
How are you trying to pass a combine if you've never even experienced serendipity?
Yeah.
If you've never stumbled upon greatness by getting it so wrong, how can you experience that, right? So
I've gotten it wrong lots.
I'm qualified to be your coach
I have
because I
years of
promise
getting
you,
it wrong.
I've screwed it up every possible way you can imagine. Taylor, I've done this wrong every
Yeah, I know.
possible way.
I know. And I think, I think you and I have talked enough. This is you know, people would ask like, well, why would you coach? If you could trade, why would you coach? It's because like we're so sick of how we felt. Like, I don't know about you, but I was genuinely so sick of how I felt about myself and my coaching. Like the ultimate feelings of failure in my life have come from trading. And I'm like, I can
100%.
help other people avoid that or work through that. Like, why can't I do that?
Hmm.
Why can't, like, that is, I love trading, like 100%. I love trading. But when I talk to my clients and they're like, Taylor, what you taught me about mindset or this or that has changed my life,
Hmm.
there's no better reward. I mean, that's amazing. And I know you experienced that too, right?
All
We've
the time.
learned from these mistakes and we've felt them. We know what they feel like.
I have a lot of clients, and they're probably in the chat right now, and they thank me for not just, oh yeah, okay, you've changed my trading life, my family has money, okay, 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 cool, okay, but you've also changed the way that I look at my life.
Yeah.
Everything is different because of the way that I look at my trading. And now in the beginning, you and I are like, cool, okay, and then you start to think like trading is a direct reflection
Hmm.
of how we live the rest of our lives. And so that's why I always
100%.
tell people, as you're learning to trade, you have to have your money right outside of trading to have your money right inside of trading. You just, how many times have you seen our MFT clients come in and you can tell by the first post that they're focused on the
Yeah.
money and the
There's an
money is
urgency.
everything. And they have that urgency. And if there's anything that Taylor and I can get you guys to understand is money is subjective. Until you have the edge in your process, which is the objective of the mission, if we will, whatever we want to call it. If we keep focusing on the money, no
Yeah.
matter what Taylor and I tell you, you're
Yeah.
probably going to be bashing your head against the wall for the next 15 years until you stop thinking about the money.
Yeah. Our mentees hear the same thing. They hear it from you and they hear it from me. Stop thinking about the money.
And the hard part about this business is it is a money driven fear, greed, live on your worst nightmare and your greatest fantasy
Yeah.
all in one. That's what makes Taylor and I's job so hard. We're not trying to sell you. Now look, we can show you a couple patterns, crude oil, ES, we can show you, okay, but if we show you that perfect pattern, why didn't you take it the last 6 times it worked?
Yeah.
Well,
Something else
because
going on.
of, well, and it's like, okay, well, that's the data that we're looking for.
Yeah, I love it. So you guys can ask questions. I'll try to keep a monitor the chat.
Can I
So
see the
so
chat?
ask away.
Is
But
it
I've
on
got
YouTube?
yeah.
Oh, you people.
So in your interface, I don't know what your interface looks like. You're kind of the EV Mux studio. Do you
Mhm.
have a little comments box somewhere?
Comments. 93 comments. I do.
Yeah, there you go.
There we
Yeah,
go.
can comment in there. Actually, I'm gonna post your link to your live stream.
Yeah. Make sure you post your link.
boom, boom. Ah,
Okay, so are we just gonna pick some? You want to pick some? Talk to me.
well, we don't have any questions yet. So let me just ask you something. How has like being a coach, how's it impacted your actual trading? Or has it? Maybe it
That's a
hasn't.
good
I don't know.
question. Oh, no, no, that's a good question. I have to double check before I place trades. Like in the live trading room, I don't show my entries until I'm in the trade. And what we found, what I've found over years of doing this is you can't just jump into a room. The guy shows you the trades, he shows you the entries and the exits, and you make money. What we've found is if we review the trades afterwards, it makes a lot more sense for next time. So the way that it's helped my trading is I know that they're going to grill me after, so I better be in
Yeah,
process.
I know.
What I've done is
Same.
I on the session recaps, I'll post all of my trades, as you guys are probably seeing in the MFT lobby, and what I put in there sometime is find the dum dum trade, right? Look at my charts, and I show every entry, every exit, and what I what I have people do is look at where I went out of process. If you can recognize where I went out of process, maybe that's where you're going out of process too, or maybe that's something you can recognize for next
Yeah.
time so you don't go out of process.
Yeah. I recently did a workshop where I taught one of my systems to my my mentees. And now I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Because now I'm like, I have to be perfect in all my trading. And they know I'm not. Like I have my days where I'm like, I missed that dumb trade.
I
Mike
do that
A.
10 times a day, Taylor. I literally, you guys, and look at what somebody
Yeah.
just put. He says, Rev misses trades monologuing.
Yeah. So I have a question about that, but I want to answer Mike A's question. Yeah, I took two trades today in CL. So I don't trade the way Reven or Patrick does. My trades are completely different, and so I'm looking for different things. I had a break even trade in CL, and then I have a -1 R in CL. And for me, it was a great day. I had an awesome day trading because I followed my process. And so for me, it was awesome. So I'm actually really jazzed. I had a good day today.
I
So,
love it. I love it. Now,
um,
notice what he just said. Notice he didn't say, "Oh, I'm frustrated because I lost today." Notice there's nothing about that. Here's what we know, Taylor. We can't control the market. We can only control the way that we act upon it or react to it.
yeah,
So Taylor saying, "Hey, a scratch and then a -1 R." Huh, perfect.
yeah, yeah. Yes,
Perfect.
yesterday was a 3.5 hour day for me. Today was a -1 hour. Who knows what tomorrow's gonna be? I don't know. I just know that my system over a series of trades is going to be really good. So, like I don't have a lot of drama about my system at all. Um, how to stop thinking about P&L. Frank's, you're in my program.
Frank, we have the answer to that. Are you ready for it? Are you going to listen? Here it is. Because I know I've told you before. The answer is you have a lack of data, which gives you a lack of confidence. If you stop thinking about the money, which is subjective, and start thinking about the process and the edge in the process, that's your objective information. That's how you stop thinking about profit and loss.
Yeah,
That's my take on it.
that's a good one. So I did a workshop. It was like last month. It's called the 5 Trades Challenge, and it's specifically designed for anyone who is in my program, specifically designed to take you through how do you stop focusing on P&L and focusing on
Mm.
process. So, Frank, go back and take a look at that workshop when you can. I think that's a great one. But the gist of it for anybody is, can you trade 5 trades, just 5, where you don't record the profit, you don't record how
Mm.
much you make. All you record is, did you enter where you were supposed to? Did you place your stop loss where you were supposed to? Did you place your take profit where you were supposed to? Did you manage your trade where you were supposed to? And did you position size the way that you're supposed to?
Mm.
And can you do that 5 times? And it's amazing how hard that is. Like, people have a really hard time doing. I have a hard time doing it 5 times in a row. So that's one little exercise you guys could try is the 5 trades challenge.
We have a hyper focused individual named Ryan in the live trading desk, and we're working on that right now with him. And he's so hyper focused that it takes everything he has to not look at his profit and loss
Yeah.
every single time, and you can see that it's eating him alive. But Frank, as we discussed in the one on one, for the first 30 days, we're not going to look at whether we're red or green. We're not going to look at whether we win or lose. We're not going to look at the end of the day, did I have more winners than losers? What we're going to do is we're going to execute trades. We have no data that shows that we should be green. We have data that firmly backs up that we should never be thinking about the money. So weigh the data, right? Weigh the data. You're struggling now with thinking about profit or loss. Okay, so remove it altogether. If you're in the simulator collecting the data, why does it matter if you're red or green? This goes along with the discussion that we had yesterday. Have any of you ever been pissed off or went on tilt in the simulator? Think about how, I almost said the wrong word. Think about how silly that is.
Yeah.
It comes from trying to be right.
Yes. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I love that. Al asks, given you both are seasoned traders, do you still try to learn new tools that you apply to your process?
That's a tough one. You know what? I'm gonna let you go first on that one. Sorry, man.
Oh, 100%. Yes. Yes, I do all the time, all the time. In fact, those who know me know I learn programming. So I've learned how to program in TradingView. I've learned how to, program in Sierra Chart. And the reason is because my focus is on process. And I define process a little bit different from Reven. Process to me is anything that I'm willing to do in my life to help me to execute my trade system better. So that could be meditation. So I recently bought a new meditation program, which I love. It's amazing. So that kind of stuff, but also any tools that help me around execution. And I'm going to tell you guys a story. This is kind of an example of where I'm looking at how can I always improve my process of execution. So I trade a whole pile of accounts. I think like 10 or 12 different accounts, and they're spread across different brokers. And I kept running into this problem where like I would have a trade trigger and I'm like scrambling to put all these orders in all at once. And it was really driving me nuts. And I would miss stuff. I was missing stuff all the time. And Christian, who's a friend of mine, said, hey, I have this tool that replicates across all the different. I'm like, oh my gosh, let me try it out. Love this tool. It's my favorite thing now because now it's one click and all my accounts. It goes to all of my accounts. So it's taking off that execution drama that I was having in my process, right? So if you're not constantly looking at ways to improve your process, now I'm not mucking with my system. I make some changes here and there to how I trade my actual system rules. What I'm talking about is kind of that 1% better of how can I change my process and where am I having difficulties executing my system and how can I get better at that, right? So there's my answer.
I love it. I love it. I wasn't sure if people were asking if I'm looking for the next shiny object.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The answer to that is no, not at all. I remove indicators. I don't put them on. Now, I absolutely agree that outside of my trading, I'm focused on anything that will get me better at trading. On the charts, what I'm looking for is instead of trying to win more, can I still lose less?
Yeah.
Can I narrow that down to a 1.5 point loss instead of a 2 point loss? Can I exit that trade at a 2 tick loss instead of a 2 point loss? Is there anything that can help me with that? I'm absolutely interested. But as far as am I looking for indicators? Is there a shiny object? Is there a different time frame that I'm looking for? Hey, have I looked at this symbol before? I'm not. I've done it all. And when I say I've done it all, I've literally gotten it wrong every possible way
Yeah.
to where I stay in my lane. Now, we had the question of, and I believe you answered it, and I didn't answer it. Where if I can just trade more, why would I keep coaching? This brings up a very, very good point, and you have to ask your coach this question. Taylor answered it very well. My answer is the same as his, where I know how dark my life was
Hmm.
when I was losing, and I lost a lot longer than most of you. Now, I didn't lose $500,000 or whatever it was. I lost what I could afford, which is about 90 grand over about 10 and a half years. I didn't have that money to lose. I didn't have that time. So, as a recovering alcoholic who has been through AA, as you are on the other side of the tracks, we'll call it, you become someone that gives back.
Yeah.
If I can give back anything to one person to not feel what I went through, just like you said, I've done my job. Now, am I compensated for it? Yes, because the information that I'm going to share with you can accelerate, as Taylor talks about, can accelerate how quick you can learn. It can lessen the the learning curve.
The
And
pain.
the way that we want to think about this is, how important is your time to you? Is 10 years of your life long enough? Or would you like to have this all cut and dry in, let's say, 12 months, because you you paid to have a coach tell you what not to do, not what to do.
Yeah.
Everybody's always trying to figure out what to do. How about we figure out what not to do?
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. I love it.
Sorry, that was off topic. Go ahead with the questions, but I mean that's just, I mean, when you're picking your coach, why is he coaching? Is he coaching women's volleyball because he likes the view?
Gosh.
You have to ask yourself that question every once in a while, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't ask that question,
I hope not.
right. But in trading, it's much worse.
Yeah.
Oh, you're kind of harsh on him. It's like, man, that not only is the market going to take your house and your wife, it's going to take that sporty little cap you got on your head.
Yeah.
So me being a little rough around the edges when I'm getting a point across to somebody, you better
Yeah,
have
it's
thick
it's
skin.
not for it's not for a lack of empathy or love for, who we're coaching or anything like that. It's,
Mhm.
sometimes you just have to be direct because it's the right way to do it at that in that moment. And sometimes it's, good to not be direct and just be a little softer, but not
when
always.
you when you get a look right in somebody's face and you are explaining to them why they shouldn't work and trade at the same time,
Yeah.
and you say to them, Goldman Sachs isn't working their other job while they're taking your money.
Yeah, yeah, they're not. 100%.
Okay, that was direct. I'm listening. Go on.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. How do you juggle the live streaming and the trading? I always have like a lot of appreciation for live streamers because it's like for me, I just feel like I'm really focused. I turn everything off. I don't even look at chats. I don't look at Discord. I don't look at anything. All I'm doing is just trading. Like you guys are like master ninjas to me who can trade and live stream and talk at the same time. Like, do you run into distractions? Does it affect your trading at all? I think someone mentioned earlier it does, but like, how do
It
you juggle
does.
that?
So the answer is ADHD. It's called adult ADHD. Okay. So
Darn,
now,
I missed out on that one.
right. No, it's okay if you don't have it. Trust me, you're doing good. But then, yes, it makes me miss trades. And so what I tell people is the $149 a month that you pay me is to pay me for the trades that I miss while I'm monologuing. It's very simple.
Oh, I love
If
it.
that's not worth it to you, my time of giving my expertise, well then,
Yeah, I love it. That's good. That's
so
good. That's good.
ADHD, if I weren't doing 12 other things while I'm trading that weren't associated to trading, they would be everything that's not associated to trading. So then
Mm,
they would be my coping mechanisms, my defense mechanisms, my avoidance techniques. They would be kicking in.
yeah.
So at least my avoidance technique is chatting with other people in the market.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. I like it. Mario has a question, and you guys get your questions in because we're going to wrap it up here in a few minutes. But do you both have a daily max loss that you stick to 100%, and what do you do afterwards once you hit it? It's a good one. You go first.
People aren't going to like this answer.
Okay.
I don't really take drawdowns like that.
Oh,
I
so
don't.
you don't take a max loss drawdown, or you don't have one.
So it's never really that like we were looking. So today I pulled up my stats. There's really no losing days, and the drawdown. If I don't ever get close enough to anywhere where I would be worried about
Mm-hmm.
stopping.
Yeah.
More importantly, my data is different than everybody else's. I have enough data that proves that all I got to do is just keep trading. There isn't
Yeah.
a lockout or a max profit, or there isn't a certain number of trades that if I get them wrong or if I get them right. The way that I look at my trading is if I got the trade wrong, it's because I screwed up, and that means I didn't follow process. When I'm in process, the drawdowns are so minimal. And again, you guys can see every trade that I take. Just go into the MFT lobby. You can scroll all the way down over the past few months. You can see every trade I've ever taken. But I don't ever get to that point where I need to say I'm tapping out
Yeah.
because I don't let myself get there. If I take a loss, and let's say it's an $800 loss, I'm going to work that back 1 and 2 contracts at a time.
Yeah.
So if I take another loss or two, it's only $100 or $2 more. I'm not worried about it. I can just reverse that and be green by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Let's see, I had a loss, I think in December, I think I lost $500 in one day. Other than that, I don't think I've had any, I
Any
think I
big
had a
losses?
break even day. I don't think I've had any losses ever,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
really. What about you?
Well, first of all, I just want to comment on that. Like, this question is really dependent on the trader and the system, right? Just recognize that. Like,
Mhm.
I don't want people going off and being like, "Oh, I'm just going to get rid of my max loss." Like, no, 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 no. That's not what Reven's saying. Reven is saying he's reached a proficiency through what he does, through his process and his approach, that he doesn't come close to worrying about any sort of max drawdown, right?
Right.
So that's a very different scenario,
The
right?
mathematical way to say it is my marginal utility of the next trade does not diminish. Okay,
Yeah,
so if we're looking at the parabola, right, and we get to the apex where it's like most people's parabola will say, don't take that next trade. Your marginal utility is going to go down on the next trade. Okay, but the calculus of my data that I've collected, I don't have that marginal utility of the diminishing return on the next trade. That's why I can trade all day with you guys.
yeah,
Well, how does Rev? Well, Patrick's done in the first 20 minutes. If I wanted to do that in one trade, I could do that. But how am I going to teach everybody for the rest of the day? And am I going to be able to create value in the first 15 minutes of every day? And people are going to continuously come back and subscribe
yeah, and then learn. Yeah,
and learn.
yeah. No, I love it. I love it. All right, so for my answer, and again, my system's different. I do not trade the way Reven does. I do have losing days, and so, but my max loss is, so I have two setups on three contracts. So I trade ES, CL, and NQ. I have two different setups. Each setup, and this is already getting complex. a maximum of 2R per setup and contract is basically. So I can have a maximum of, what's that, 12R loss. That's never, ever, ever happened. Ever, ever, ever happened. And part of it is because there's a time component to what I do. So, I might take a 3R, 4R loss for a day max. And that's rare in itself. But by my rules, I have a 12R. Now, when I do have a day, the better question is, what do you do when you have a day where your system, gives you negative 4R? What do I do? Well, I go and I might do back testing, or I might work on one of these tools I'm building, or I might go and work with somebody who needs a little extra coaching or whatever. Like, I go find something else to do. I do not sit in front and fret over the market. that's the last thing that I want to do, is to sit there and look at the market either going my way or what I perceive as potentially other opportunities that come up. And I walk away, do other stuff. It's not a big deal. I have so much confidence in my system and my approach and my ability to execute it that I just wait for another day. It's not a big deal. So, yeah. Let's see. TikTok brain. Yeah. Rev, what instrument do you usually trade, and do you stick with mini contracts?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm going to dissect this, and I want and this hones in on people think that they're collecting the right data, but they're not. Okay, so the first question is, what instrument do you use? I only trade the ES. Okay, so now there's the ES, there's the micro, and there's the mini. The only reason you would ever think about using the micro is when you are thinking about money, not your process. Why would you trade the ES if you've removed, why would you trade the MES if you've removed money from your process altogether? You wouldn't. If you had a process, if you had the edge in a process, and you had no money was nowhere in your thoughts, there's no reason to have an MES contract, because the MES shows that you're only thinking about the leverage. Because we have prop firms these days, there's no reason to trade a $500 account trading the micros. All you do is just, once you've found a process that works, you do it in the ES. When I have people collecting the data, they are not allowed to be in the MES. Because if you're in the simulator, in the MES, that means the first thing you're thinking of is money. Why would you be in a simulator trading the smallest contract? Why wouldn't we be trading full size and removing the fear of the execution? So that was a two-part question.
Yeah.
And Naz probably didn't even realize that he had two questions in there. Obviously, there's two question marks, but great question. And I hope that answers, I hope that explains to people the difference between the people that make it and the people that don't. The people that make it, they're thinking of data that's completely different than the other people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. It's way to tie in the mindset component there, which is, what are you thinking about? I love it. And I tell you what, Reven, I've got other questions, but we're kind of at time. I think we should do this again. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. One question that was brought up by Andy Young, who's a
I missed
student of
it.
yours. No. This was emailed to me, and it involves you and me, right? So the question is, they saw today that my profit factor this year is 1.56. Okay, right? So now immediately they're looking at one data point. Well, profit factor should be above 2 to succeed. Right? So now let's dissect this.
Yes.
If I'm adding to a trade and the exit to the add order is below the original entry, it's going to decrease my profit factor.
Yeah.
So when you see that I have a 1.56, but I made 269 points since the beginning of the year, we have to look at many other factors, and this goes with exactly what Taylor and I are telling everybody is like, okay, don't just focus on what we perceive as one data point, because okay, if we're only focusing on profit factor, you're it misses a lot of other things, you know. And I'm just using profit factor as one data point. But when people get stuck on a data point that they don't fully understand,
Yeah.
that's one of those times where it's like, okay, all right, let's open our eyes to a little bit more. To answer your question of whether we should do this again, I think this is very beneficial.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good. I want to go back and answer my part of that question, though, the profit factor one, because I think this is a really good clarification. I talk about this all the time. I talk about the 2.0 as a benchmark. And the reason is because most of the people that we're coaching are developing traders.
Mhm.
And so all I'm saying then is, look, if you're a developing trader, you need to be shooting for a 2.0 benchmark because you're going to make mistakes. You need a system that has at least 2.0 because you're going to make mistakes and you want cushion for those mistakes. Very clearly, Reven is beyond a developing trader. Reven is at the point, right, where he is very knowledgeable, skilled, ability to execute, got the right mindset, you know. So like having a profit factor, you know, that even if it even in like there's a nuance here to how he's calculating profit factor too, right? Like you're calculating profit factor in a way where you're actually reducing what it is because of some ads, right? So like there's all nuances there too. But even if it was an actual 1.56, it doesn't matter for you
Mhm.
because you're executing at a 1.56 level. But if you're at a 1.56 level, but you're only able to execute at a 0.9 profit factor level, you're going to lose.
Mhm.
And so it's just building in that cushion for developing traders. That's why we have that benchmark. We like that I like that benchmark. I'm not going to speak for Reven. I like that benchmark for developing traders. Go for it.
And the benchmark is exactly what you're saying, where the process, it's hard to articulate it that way. It's clear, but when you're not yet a profitable trader, you have a lower frequency of success. So your profit factor has to be higher to make up for the losing trades that have a lower profit factor. So
Yes.
that's why the benchmark is 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. All right. I love it. Reven, this was so good. It was so fun to talk to you and get
This
to
is
know each
awesome.
other better and meet and
Absolutely. This is
answer
great.
questions. Yeah, this was really good. So I appreciate your time. I know you're busy and I know you're doing a lot of great work. Guys, you know, Reven's if you are not on Reven's live stream, this is how you get there. I'm gonna put in another link and go sign up. Follow Reven. It's worth it.
There's a free that link that he's posting there. That's a free 7-day trial into the room. You're gonna get me for five trading days, and you're gonna get all of the support information is going to be. It's going to help you understand what we're doing in the trading room. So that's all included. After the 7-day trial, you have you can do weekly, monthly, or quarterly subscriptions. You know, but really, not only do you want to you want to immerse yourself with other professional traders, but you also need to have a coach, right? So if it's me or if it's Taylor, look, we're going to get you where you need to go, but get a
Or if
coach.
it's both of us.
We have
Because
a lot of people in this
the
room right now that have a tremendous
tons of
success
success
rate.
with people that are using both of us because we do coach on different things, right?
Where's Vince? Show me Vince. I know he's here. Props to you, Vince. Great job.
Yeah.
I've seen the work that Taylor and Vince are doing, and it's I mean I've combed through it, and man, guys, I'm telling you, if you're not going to pick me, pick Taylor. Okay, if you're not going to if you're going to do this,
If you're
get a
not going to pick
coach
me,
to
pick Reven.
accelerate. Get a coach to accelerate
Yeah.
your learning and lower the learning curve. If you respect your time, getting a coach is just the logical thing to do. So.
I love it. That's perfect. All right, you guys, have a great rest of your trading week. I think there's one more day, and then next week we have some adventure with the FOMC. So be careful out there next week.
Yeah.